Thank you for attending the information session for the Ikigai Planner Network. My name is Sam Yushio. I'm the founder of Ikigai Lab, and with me is Danica Waddell and Brady Marlowe, who are both founding members of the Ikigai Planner Network. The majority of the time that we've allotted here today is going to be a discussion with both Danica and Brady talking about their experience with the Ikigai Planner Network. In advance of that, I'll provide a little bit of a background and frame on what the network is and how you can get involved. I'll mention just to kick things off, hopefully you heard this already, but this is being recorded and will be shared on a future basis. So Ikigai Lab is a social enterprise that focuses on two primary objectives: human sustainability and societal impact. We do that through a number of different efforts. And in particular, the effort that we're talking about here today with the Ikigai Planner Network is working with purpose-driven certified financial planners on both human sustainability for themselves as well as their clients, and then amplifying societal impact through the work that you do in the client experience. The mission of the Ikigai Planner Network is to empower purpose-driven certified financial planners with solutions and community for leadership development, personal growth, and an involved client experience. I think you're going to hear that come through with context in this conversation with Danica and Brady. There is this, solutions and community, which is a big part of, I think, what they'll talk about, but definitely what I've experienced in facilitating these conversations. The community aspect is the topics are relatively broad. So there is a best practice sharing in terms of the role that you play as a certified financial planner within financial services and wealth management. But we also provide permission to have conversations about a broader array of personal topics as well. The framework for Ikigai in general, within both the Certified Financial Planner Network as well as just all of Ikigai's initiatives, comes back to this Ikigai pyramid. The Ikigai pyramid, the foundation of the Ikigai pyramid starts at the base, which focuses on the core values. What are your three core values? From that, we move into the next click above that, which are talents, and above that are life dimensions. Values are pretty straightforward. We work through a process that identifies your three core values, or where you identify your three core values. In terms of talents, on that second rung, we leverage strengths-based positive psychology, in particular Clifton Strengths, where each participant completes the Clifton Strengths assessment and goes through that process. And then the life dimensions up at the top, we look at 6 dimensions, which are social, physical, intellectual, emotional, spiritual, and professional. A big schematic in terms of what this looks like. It's really a 2-step process. So step number 1 is the onboard. That onboard is a 4-module process. It takes form in a number of different engagements, either an in-person workshop or a virtual series, but essentially it contains 4 modules where we define what Ikigai is, this wisdom tradition that has been linked to longevity and life satisfaction. We establish a cohort, which is called a moai, which kind of pulls from this wisdom tradition as well. Module 2, we work through a process of values discovery where you identify your 3 core values. Module 3 is we work through the Clifton Strengths process, and then module 4 is these 6 dimensions of life and a system designed to support ongoing exploration and growth, both personally and professionally. You move through that process with your cohort or your moai, and then on an ongoing basis, you continue to work with that moai or that cohort, but then we open up opportunities to cross-pollinate with other cohorts. So if you look down on the bottom in the purple, this ongoing frame on a monthly basis, we have something called the Liquid Network, which essentially is an optional opportunity for all members to drop in, share best practices, and connect with other members. On a quarterly basis, there's a cadence where that cohort will meet. So at a minimum, on an annual basis, you'll be meeting with your cohort 4 times per year, and then you'll have an opportunity to meet with other members of the network virtually 8 times per year. Down at the bottom, there is growth experiences, Ikigai Connect, the Ikigai Summit and member meeting, and then Ikigai Adventures. Just very quickly, these growth experiences are a curated network of purpose-driven practitioners across a number of different well-being modalities. We'll bring in experts on topics like everything from mindfulness and nutrition, stress management, gut health, menopause, perimenopause, to other topics, professional topics like AI, organizational culture. We do that on an as scheduled basis. Ikigai Connect is an in-person happy hour series that we do. It's a 3-hour happy hour series. To date, we have done that in 2 locations, in Seattle and in Portland. The Ikigai Summit member meeting, the summit is hosted in November. It's kind of the last year we had approximately 120 participants. The day before that Ikigai Summit, we had a member meeting, exclusive meeting just for members across our various networks. This year that will be on November 13th. And then Ikigai Adventures is a new series, a multi-day nature-based immersion retreat that the first Ikigai Adventures is being hosted next week on March 19th, 20th, and 21st on the spring equinox. So this in totality is the experience. Just to reframe it, it's a 2-step. Step 1 is the onboard process where you go through this experience with your dedicated cohort. And then on an ongoing basis, we have an experience, a client experience for members, if you will. Criteria is pretty straightforward. Certified financial planner. Really what we're driving toward is to support best interest in fiduciary and kind of take that to the next level. So certified financial planner, but in addition, that certified financial planner actively supports belonging and inclusivity in the industry, in community, and society at large. And then in addition, they view from a selection perspective, an investment perspective, holistic client solutions, sustainable values aligned investment solutions. So our founding members, we have 7 founding members that have gone through the process, have been incredible partners in supporting the engagement and the launch. They've been great guinea pigs, have provided a lot of great feedback on iterating on this process. 2 of those founding members are here today, in Danica Waddell and Brady Marlowe. And so especially grateful for the 2 of them to be founding members of this group, but then also for participating today. And I've asked them to share the responses to 3 key questions. So question number 1 is, why did you join? Question number 2 is, what have they gained? And question number 3 is, why should other certified financial planners consider joining? And so I'll start off with Danica first on why did you join. Danica, if you can please share why you joined the Ikigai Planner Network, and then we'll go to Brady.
Sure, thanks, Sam. So I have participated in probably every Ikigai offering that there's been over the last couple of years. So I've been to the summits and a number of other things that you have rolled out, Sam, and they've been consistently, they've exceeded my expectations every single time. And so when you brought this particular version to me and said, kind of looking for some guinea pigs, it was sort of an immediate yes. But the specific reasons, in addition to everything that you do, I'm always a fan of. I was really looking for, I'm always looking for ways to enhance my ability to work with my clients. And so I have pursued many different trainings and certifications and all those things that specifically support my growth in that area. And so having the opportunity to learn with another cohort of like-minded professionals was really, really appealing to me. Like, what other, bits of wisdom can I glean from people that are doing similar work? So that was really kind of the top reason for me, was kind of building that network or enhancing the network that I already have, and learning from other people who are doing similar work. So that's my answer to the question.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thanks for the
Danica.
opportunity, Sam. I was really just called to it. I know that sounds simple. Some of that's probably been a lot of the inner work that I've done over my life, but when you approached me with this and invited me to the Ikigai conference in Seattle, it was in my heart. I knew I wanted to be there. And like Danica said, the type of people that this attracts are the type of people that I want to create with and grow with going forward. And I also think as you think about our profession, and it's always evolved, right? It goes from stock trader was the value to financial plan was the value to or asset allocation to planning, et cetera. And technology is kind of taking over what we used to do. And I think the trick is we always just got to be more human. Like, well, how do we stay more human and connect with people more? So this process, I'll say, is been transformational for me. So once you go through it, then you're able to help others and guide them through it. Because it won't look the exact same, but you'll at least know how to be their Sherpa along the way. So like I said, it's just something that called to me, and it's something that I think is just the next evolution to be more human with our clients.
Well, that's great. Thank you both for sharing. So just to read it back, be more human. Brady felt called and compelled, and Danica, you're amplifying some of that as well as in addition to looking for opportunities to enhance the client experience. So Brady, I'll come to you with this question. So the second question, which you've alluded to a little bit, is just what have you gained? So as a member to date, where you've gone through that onboard process, you also participated in the Ikigai Summit as both of you did, both as a participant and a presenter. Can you talk about what you've gained from the experience?
Sure. A few things come to mind. One, I have this right here. Those are my values and my strengths. And I really, not that I haven't done those, I've done plenty of those over the years, but this is really every morning I wake up and look through that lens of how do I be this today? And so this has really been a different way to embody it than maybe I've done some assessments and things before. And it's strengthened by the cohort. And I really do enjoy the way that Sam, you'd set up those cohorts because we could get on, we have plenty to talk about. We're all probably have similar interests and maybe some ones that connect to each other. So the conversation's always good, but to have it structured, to get right into it, to the values, to really observe each other. I've enjoyed also the breakouts we do, to have someone just immediately help you with a goal. And because we've set up all that vulnerability and time ahead of time, it's easy just to get right into it. So in I think 8 minutes, I already had one of my peers bring some insight to a problem that I was thinking about that I hadn't thought of. So that's part was amazing. And then one thing I didn't plan on was that, sometimes it'll be out on LinkedIn that I'm part of this. It's probably the number one thing people ask me about if they see me in person. Oh, I saw that thing you were doing on LinkedIn with Ikigai. Can you tell me about that? So it's just, and it's the one thing I would want to talk about with people most. So it's just been great to amplify that. That's a conversation I want to have with people.
There was a lot there that I liked and would echo just about everything that you said. I really liked how you described that you had done exercises like this before, but that this was a different way to embody some of those values and strengths and things like that, which really resonates for me too. Because similarly, I've done, assessments and things like that. But we were really kind of we didn't just do the assessment and kind of like set it off to the side. It was like part of every exercise that we did. It was like, hey, these are your strengths. How are those showing up, in this particular case and in this instance and in this moment? So it was a very interactive use of those tools as opposed to just like, here are your strengths, and you kind of just like leave them on the shelf. So I really liked how you described that. I also think, again, with the cohorts, I got so much out of our cohort, which I mean, it's just like an amazing group of professionals. But there was something very real about like we could kind of instantly go to a place, and I think I credit Sam a lot with, you know, sort of curating such an amazing group of people. But we were able to kind of get into the weeds very quick. You know, just we were able to take things to a different level quite quickly than I think I've really experienced in a lot of other formats. So that was a huge positive. Trying to think if there's anything else I want to add. I think the other thing for me is just the self-awareness. And again, I've done a lot of these exercises before, but really pausing to take um, those things that we were learning about ourselves, but really like put them into practice in a way that felt very it felt very productive. You know, it just wasn't like, oh, I've learned this about myself. It was like, I've learned this about myself and this is how I'm going to apply it. So it just felt like I was really able to take those teachings and actually put them into some aspect of my life, you know, a problem that I was working on or something like that. So that was a really nice aspect that I wasn't really expecting. I think that's all I have to say on that question.
That's great. So we didn't prepare for this question, but I'm gonna take the risk of asking it because you're both talking about self-awareness. I mean, Brady's quote of "How do I be this today?" I think that really captures it. Like, there's a lot of different exercises that are out there that at a point in time gives you that space to think and find a connection between who you are and who you want to be, but then oftentimes it doesn't translate into actionable implementation after you leave that bubble or that container. And so that's one of the key objectives of the network on an ongoing basis. How do you support the evolution of this and the implementation of this? Are there examples? Is there an example that comes to mind for either of you on just where you took these insights and implemented them either in a client conversation or an employee conversation or a personal conversation, or just in any setting where what you captured here translated into something outside of the engagement?
Yeah, I'll go a couple. One of my values is leadership, and there's been a lot of change at our organization, and you might show up and be frustrated or want to point things out that need fixing, but just asking myself how would a leader perform in this situation is super helpful. Reduced a lot of stress, and I think made me and everybody around me better. So that's one thing internally. Another thing internally, yeah, just working with my team members, like being okay with, you know, within reason, being able to talk about values or emotions a bit. And I think that can really uncover what's really maybe getting in somebody's way if it's done correctly. And then with clients, I just had one, you know, this is a family business internal transition, and they've had advisors and been talking about this for like 5 to 8 years. I've done nothing with the advanced estate planning, but it's not for lack of professionals trying to give them strategies. They gave them all the strategies, and you can gift into an idjit and all these different things, but they really just needed to get clear as a family as to what's important. And so even in the meeting, they wanted to move past some of the values and exercises I had, but I was courageous and, you know, doubled down on it and said, we're going to do this. And by the end of it, they were glad they did it. And I think it's going to get us, I know it is, it's going to get us closer to the conversations that need to be had, so that they can actually have some movement with their future and their plan.
I'm definitely not prepared because nothing's coming to mind. I blame the kitchen remodel that's happening in my house. My brain is like a sieve right now. Um, yeah, I don't, nothing is coming to mind in terms of a specific example, but I do think there's something about the interplay and the subtlety of the strengths and the values that I've just had a deeper awareness for how those are showing up. Like my top values are joy, community, and growth. And those have been fairly consistent over the last couple years, but how those kind of interact with the strengths has been really interesting. Like, how does that connect to, say, the fact that I'm an activator, how does that show up? So I think I'm just more cognizant of how those different things present, but I can't think of any specific examples.
Danica, I think that's at the core of it, though. It's for me, it's about alignment, and I think when you have more awareness around those things, that can make you aware of like, oh, this is why this situation is maybe causing a reaction, and then you can be more aware of the why around it. So I think it is. It's almost like this navigation system, and that you're more aware of.
Love that. Yeah, that's a great metaphor of a navigation system. Thank you both for sharing. So last question is, and I kind of stacked the deck in favor of this. Maybe I preempted it. Is why should other CFPs consider joining the network? So why don't we go with Danica first and Freddie second this time?
I mean, kind of coming back to my reasoning to begin with was, leveraging other people's skills and expertise. And really, I mean, the connections that we created in a relatively short amount of time, like I basically barely know Brady, and like I would trust Brady with with my life, basically. So I think um the insight and the connections that were forged again in a relatively short amount of time were more than worth the investment of both money and time, and again exceeded my expectations. So I think if those things are important to you, like if you want to deepen your own self-awareness, if you want to be able to bring that work to your client work, if you want to learn from other people who are doing similar, sort of purpose-driven leaders who are doing similar work, to me, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I think we all know the profession will continue to evolve. And being around other forward thinkers. So I thought I was somewhat forward thinking around some of this purpose and values, but then you get around all these just tremendous colleagues like Danica and some of the others in our founding, and then you get that imposter syndrome, not around technical analysis or money or anything around that. It's just like, wow, these people are really purposeful, care, or innovative with the way they're working with their clients. So it just opens up a whole new ecosystem that can nourish you if this is something that drives you and fills your bucket.
I love that.
That's beautiful. I would agree with that. And yeah, I mean, not so much the imposter syndrome part of it, but just, I mean, very much opening up what's possible, like how, what is possible in our work with clients, and hearing from people who had very different types of practices and very different backgrounds and seeing things through different lenses, but we're still bringing a similar intention to their work with clients, was a huge benefit.
Yeah, those are both great insights. And I think one of the key takeaways that I've observed with this group is, there's clearly a large move toward human advice in terms of the advisor-client relationship. In many ways, you're working that muscle even more in these environments, in this ecosystem, because you have that opportunity to be vulnerable and have that human engagement, that human experience at a peer level, which then strengthens your ability to go with confidence and conviction at the client level. So thank you to both of you for being founding members, for providing your insights. So wrap it up with a couple final remarks. So the fee to participate in the Ikigai Planner Network is $12.99 for year one. That includes both the onboard fee, whether it's workshop or virtual series, and your first year of membership. Starting in year two, it's the ongoing annual fee is $7.99. In addition, I didn't mention this before, but Ikigai Summit, Ikigai Adventures, with all those different experiences, those in-person experiences, Ikigai Planner Network members get discounts for participation in all of those. Those are both open to the general public. So if you're interested in learning more, this QR code, actually, if you're interested in registering, this QR code will take you directly to the registration page. In the chat is the information page. You can also find that at www.ikigai-planner.com. So thank you all for participating in today's session. Special thanks to Danica and Brady for their participation today, and founding members, and for all the good work that they're doing out there and leading the industry. And we look for, if you have any questions on the Ikigai Planner Network, please reach out at info@ikigailab.co. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.